Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sammy Ketchum, and welcome back to Sammy Ketchum TCG. Alright guys, I'm coming to you with, this is going to be a two-part video. The first part of the video is going to be the deck profile of the deck I played in Dallas. Reshirom, Ho-Oh, Naganadel. And then the second part of the video is going to be my regional experience and my tournament report. So this one's going to be the deck profile. I know this is like a little late after the event, but when I got back, I was tired. You know, I got back a little late than everybody else, so, you know, had to work, things like that. So, but I want to get this up and I want to get this out there, and I hope you guys appreciate the content I want to show for you guys. Alright, so let's jump into this. Let's do that. Alright, we have ourselves 3 copies of Reshirom and Zekrom GX. This guy is the bread and butter of the deck. This whole deck strategy is going to be based around this Fabled Flarebolt's attack. The whole deck is going to be based around it. Alright, it's a fire and lightning. Basically what you do is you can discard up to 3 basic energy cards from your bench Pokemon. Alright? And then for each one you discard, it does 90 damage. So if you discard 1, that's 90. If you discard 2, that's 180. If you discard 3, that's 270. So this damage caps at 270. This does knock out most Tag Team GXs. But in Expanded, we have damage modifiers that could get up to 300. And 280 with Fighting Fury Belt and Choice Band. But 270 is a sweet spot. We can work with that. We can one-shot just about anything. So that's what we're going to be doing with this deck. The GX attack is basically kind of like a secondary win condition. It is called Crossbreak GX. 2 fire and 2 lightning. What it does is that it basically does 170 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. If you played Ends Resolve this turn, then you get to pick 2 of their Pokemon and do 170 damage to them. So basically you can hit like a dedenne or a shaymin, or you can hit like a lele and a shaymin, or a lele and a dedenne if you played Ends Resolve. If you didn't play Ends Resolve, then you can just snipe for 170 and just hit 1, which sometimes actually isn't bad. But that is a really, really good finishing attack, especially with Ends Resolve when you get it all. Alright. Next up, we have ourselves 2 copies of Ho-Oh GX. Ho-Oh GX is in here for its rebirth ability, and what it does is that if it's in your discard pile, you can flip a coin, and if you get heads, you get to take it and 3 other basic energy cards, or different energy cards, and attach it to him and put him on your bench. This deck only runs fire and lightning, so you can only take 2, but that's still good for this deck because you need fire and lightning. All right. So this is another way. This is a way that you could fuel Fabled Flarebolts, the discard energies. Alright, let's do it this way. we have ourselves a 3/3 line of Naganadel, baby Naganadel. Basically, Naganadel's in here for its charging up ability. Basically, when it's on the bench, you basically could take a basic energy card from your discard pile and attach it to Naganadel. This is very good for also powering up Fabled Flare Bolts. This is basically going to be the main or long-term way you're going to be powering up Fabled Flare Bolts. Because after you get off Ho-Oh, or let's say you either get it off or don't get it off, after you get him off and either discard the energies or don't get him off, you can have this to fall back on and attach energies from the discard pile. It's like you're going to always have a way to do that. It's like insurance after you get one or two set up. So you have 2 on the bench, basically normally. And if you have 2 on the bench, you can attach 2 from the discard pile. You know, and every single turn that you discard for Fabled Flare Bolts, you can just rinse and repeat with Naganadel, which is very, very good. Also, Naganadel can double as a second attacker. Its attack basically does 80 damage for 3 energies. If you've already taken 3 prizes in the game, then this attack does 80 more damage, which is 160, which is really good because this deck loves knocking out tag teams. So you knock out a tag team, and then it comes back to your turn, and you've taken 3 prizes. You could basically send this up an attack for 160 damage. You attach a choice band to it, that's like 190, which is very good, especially in expanded against those EXs that cap at 180. All right. This is also good against Egg Growl. After you knock out a tag team and they send out a Vileplume, you could basically knock it out from 190 damage, 160 damage, because you're at 3 prizes, which is very good. Because if they send out the one where you can't attack with basics, boom, attack with an evolution. 160 damage, very, very good. That's just an example. Another win condition for this deck, we have ourselves 1 copy of Naganadel Guzzlord GX. Alright? There. Naganadel Guzzlord GX, what it does is it's basically in here for its GX attack. It's like an alternate GX attack. If you have a psychic and a dark, an extra psychic and a dark attached to this Pokemon other than the attack's energy cost, you can flip over your prizes. You get to look at your prizes. We'll flip them over for the rest of the game and take 2 of those prizes and add them to your hand. So you get to basically take 2 of your prizes, which is good. This is very good against basic decks, basic non-GX decks, because this is a way to take prizes without attacking your opponent's Pokemon. Which is very good if you get it on. Since we have double dragon energy in here, the double dragon energy can basically be the dark and the psychic energy for the GX attack. Its first attack, Jet Pierce, isn't bad either. Hits for 180. You can basically take out basic EXs with this. You can take out shaymins and dedennes and leles with this as well. So that's not too shabby. Yeah. One copy of Dedenne GX. Dedenne GX is in there for its draw power. You play it from your hand, discard your hand, and draw 6 cards. Self-explanatory. Tapu Lele GX. When you play Tapu Lele GX from your hand, You can search your deck for a supporter and add it to your hand. Very good to get you a supporter when you need it. One copy of Shaymin EX. When you're playing from your hand, you can basically draw up to 6 cards, which is very good. And last but not least, one Tapu Koko. I'll put him down here. I'll do that. Tapu Koko Prism Star. Alright? Tapu Koko is in there for its ability to dance to the ancients. When you can remove him from play and get 2 lightning energies from your discard pile and attach them to your bench Pokemon, which is very good. Also good energy acceleration for Fabled Flare Bolts. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the supporters. We're going to go, let's do this. 2 Professor Juniper. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Very good and expanded. One copy of Cynthia. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 cards. I added this in here because sometimes you don't want to play in. Sometimes you don't want to in your opponent and give them 6 cards. Sometimes you want to just shuffle your hand and draw 6 cards. So I added this in here because of that. Because sometimes in the beginning of the game, when you don't want to discard your hand with Juniper or dedenne, you want to shuffle your hand back in and shuffle your resources back in. But you do not want to shuffle within. Because it's like, why shuffle their hand back in? Why shuffle their hand back in? You might give them a better hand, you know. Plus, it's the beginning of the game, or maybe the mid game, or maybe even late game, and you've already taken a lot of prizes. You're down to maybe 2-to-1 prize, and you don't want to end, you know. But a lot of decks I've seen, you know, they'll sit there, they'll be like, oh, I want to shuffle my hand in. I don't want to discard my hand, but the only thing I have is in. You know, it's like, so it's like, wow, you know, I only have one choice, so I have to play the in. I have to end my opponent's hand as well. And usually people are okay with that, but I'm not. So I added Cynthia to kind of help with that. One copy of Acerola. If your Pokemon is damaged, or my Reshirom is damaged, I can pick them back up into my hand. This is very good because usually I can pick them up and put them back down, attach a double dragon energy, and send them right back out, or send another one out. One copy of Guzma. Gotta have some gusting effects in here. You know, very, very good. One copy of Ends Resolve. Ends Resolve is in here for that basically that GX attack, that explosive wind condition. And what you do is you sit here and basically you want them to play a dedenne and a shaymin on the bench, which they're going to do. And then if you have a Reshirom mini active that already has a double dragon energy attached to it, you just sit there, attach a double dragon energy to it, play Ends Resolve, and then go smack them in the face. Ends Resolve, Crossbreak GX, and take 4 prizes. 4 prizes, which is very good. You can end games so fast just by using this with Reshirom GX. one copy of Pokemon Ranger. This basically gets rid of effects of attacks on Pokemon. This is very good for getting rid of ADP's GX attack. That basically lets them get an extra prize when they knock out a Pokemon. You know, this is exactly why ADP is not good and expanded. So, yeah. I'll tell you more about that in my next video in part 2 when someone played ADP in Dark Box. Alright, let's go. Four copies of Mysterious Treasure. Basically what you do is you discard your hand and you can search your deck for a dragon or a psychic type Pokemon and add them to your hand. Most of the Pokemon in this deck are dragon and psychic. Reshirom and Zekrom, dragon. Naganadels, they're all psychic. Naganadel Guzzlords are dragon. Tapu Lele, psychic. So most of the Pokemon in this deck are basically psychic. So we can basically abuse that. Which is very good. Alright, 4 copies of Versus Seeker. Versus Seeker will allow you to get a supporter card from your discard pile back into your hand. So if you needed to reuse Juniper, you could reuse this. If you want to use another Cynthia, you could use another Cynthia or another N. I mean, well, you really would not use another N's Resolve because that would just tear your deck apart. But or another acerola to pick your Pokemon back up after it gets damaged. Or another Pokemon Ranger if they're really trying to harp at effects of attacks. Things like Norvorin GX, which says you can't attach special energies to your Pokemon. This gets rid of that. 2 copies of Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards from your hand and search your deck for any Pokemon. So you could get dedenne, lele, shaymin, Tapu Koko. Another reason I only have 2 is because most of the time you're going to end up drawing them out with your draw cards, things like that. So sometimes you also start with some of these guys anyway. So you know, they're not really hard to find. You have lots of options and things to find, you know, the other Pokemon in this deck, which is really good. Two copies of Field Blower. Field Blower, you could basically get rid of a Pokemon tool card and a stadium card on the field and blow both of them off. You know, doesn't matter if it's on your side or your opponent's side. A tool or a stadium card, or 2 tool cards, or one tool card and 1 stadium card, and blow them off the field. Which is very good. Very useful for getting rid of choice bands, fighting fury bells, focus sashes, also chaotic swell, silent labs, stadiums like that. Might do that. Let's see. Yeah. Actually, let's do that. Let's do this thing since I already did that. Ah! Tom, is it? Okay. Alright, fill lower. Alright, 2 copies of Choice Band. Basically, you can attach this to your Pokemon, and it adds 30 damage to their attack. If you're attacking a GX or EX Pokemon, very good. Two battle compressors. Basically, battle compressor will allow you to take 3 cards out of your deck and put them in your discard pile. This is very good for putting energies in your discard pile to fuel Naganadel, which in turn will fuel fabled flare bolts to discard energy. You know. Also, it's good for Ho-Oh EX. Two copies of Floatstone. Floatstone, what you do is you attach to one of your Pokemon and it gives your Pokemon free retreat, which is very, very good. One copy of Computer Search A-Spec, one of the best cards in Expanded. You can discard 2 cards from your hand and get any card in your deck. Any card in your deck, which is very, very good. See that. Alright. No, that's one. That's just one. Alright. One copy of Stealthy Hood. This is really good for protecting your Pokemon from abilities that will affect them. Like Garbodor's ability that says you can't use abilities. That you don't have abilities when it has a item attached to it. I can attach this to one of my Naganadels and they'll be able to use charging up. You know. Or if you run up against Eggrowl and they say your basics can't attack, you attach a Stealthy Hood to it and your basics can attack. Well, the one that has a Stealthy Hood on it, which is very good. One copy of Great Catcher. What Great Catcher does is you discard 2 cards from your hand and you can bring up one of your opponent's EX or GX Pokemon to the active spot, which is very good. Another gusting effect other than Guzma that's not a supporter that you could use to bring up your opponent's Pokemon. Two copies of Chaotic Swell. What Chaotic Swell does is that if your opponent goes to remove Chaotic Swell with another stadium, then basically that and this stadium both go to the discard pile. Basically what this says is that, oh, you're going to try to replace a stadium with this? Oh, you're coming down with me. So basically, yeah, it's going to take a stadium with it. Only way to get rid of this off the field is to basically field blower it off. You know. So yeah. And we have, last but not least, one copy of Parallel City. Basically, you could use this to, you can use either side of this. Either on yourself or your opponent. Most of the time we're going to use the blue side on your opponent because it basically limits their bench to 3 Pokemon. Limits their bench to 3 Pokemon, which is very big and expanded because decks like Dark Box, Pikachu and Zekrom, actually most decks will like to have more, either a 5-card bench or more than 5-card benches. Or more than 5-card bench with Skyfield. So if you do this against a deck that plays Skyfield and you knock off their Skyfield with Parallel City, their bench goes from 8 to 3, which is very big. I can also use this against myself. I can make myself go down to 3 bench Pokemon, because sometimes Ho-Oh and dedenne and Shaymin, they can all clog my bench. So I can use this to get rid of some of the Pokemon on my bench, and then what I'll do is I'll play a field blower and blow this off, and now I can get my bench back. Now I can reuse Ho-Ohs, put them back on the bench, and get more energies on them. Or maybe I could play a Tapu Lele or another Shaymin or dedenne or something. Or I could play other things, which is a very, very good strategy, which is another reason why I have this in here. And then last but not least, we have ourselves 4 lightning, 4 fire, and 4 dragon energy. Alright. To round out the deck. Alright guys. Let me know if you guys like it. This is what I played for the event. It ran, basically it was really good. It was really good the whole event. Really didn't have too many problems with it, except maybe 2 games. Like 2 games out of the 9 games that I played. It basically just well, really actually 1 game. Actually 1 game. There was only 1 game that I basically just really drew dead in. The other times basically it did well. It did really well. I have no complaints. But anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. My other video is coming up where I talk about my regional experience. Thank you. Make sure you take care of yourself and each other.